Hello again, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this Friday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. First graphic, hazardous weather graphics, and there are no watches, warnings, or advisories out anywhere around the state for the next day or so. And so moving right into satellite imagery, you can see areas of clearing over the interior today with some scattered thunderstorms developing over the eastern interior areas. Nothing widespread, but some of the taller clouds developed into some scattered thunderstorm activity with some afternoon heating rising into the as high as the mid-70s over the upper Yukon Valley areas. Otherwise, rain fell across the southeast coast today. It's becoming more showery in the afternoon. Also for the North Gulf Coast, areas of rain, and a trough swinging into the southwest and western part of the state brought gusty winds, a windy afternoon, wet conditions. Bethel picking up about half an inch of precipitation in the last 12 hours, and winds gusting to 35 miles an hour. Russian Mission had a third of an inch precipitation. And winds generally pretty gusty, gust to 40 miles an hour at Cape Newenham. And Chignik there on the Alaska Peninsula, gust 37 miles an hour. Precipitation, again, ending as you head west toward Sand Point, Cold Bay. And generally cloudy across the Aleutians, clouds over the Pribilofs with a few breaks around the area there. You can see the northern Bering Sea seeing some clearing as well, extending on up to St. Lawrence Island. Gamble carrying clear skies in afternoon observations, and also decreasing clouds over Cook Inlet, the Sitna Valley, rising into the lower 70s this afternoon. 71 at Big Lake, and also clearing over the Copper River Basin. Still pretty cloudy for the Kenai Peninsula. Then up in the interior, Beaver rose to 76 degrees this afternoon, and temperatures approaching 70 in the Fairbanks area. And other clear areas there in the interior, even some clearing there on the north slope. And also along and south of the Alaska Peninsula, northwest slope, clearing it out pretty nicely there. Clouds and showers persisting over Kodiak Island into the afternoon here, but that should end this evening. And on the chart today, there's a trough swinging into the Panhandle. It brought the rainfall across the area there with anywhere from a quarter to maybe a half an inch or so falling, like around Yakutat into the northern Panhandle. Mounts down at Klawock about a third of an inch. Otherwise, thunderstorms developing there over around the low center in the Eastern Brooks Range on down toward the White Mountain areas, with rain over the Denali Park area up to 3/4 of an inch falling at Stampede there in the Denali Park area. And also the rain with the trough moving through the southwest part of the state with a 995 millibar low there near the eastern, near the Nulato Hills. That trough extending southward, spreading showers into the Alaska Peninsula, and that also what's triggering the showers over Kodiak Island this afternoon. Just to the west there, weak high pressure, but resulting in a fair amount of clearing, as I mentioned there, from the Bering Sea, northern Bering, St. Lawrence Island southward. To near the Pribilofs, generally cloudy there though, but over Bristol Bay in the southeast Bering Sea, some clearing. And south side of the Alaska Peninsula, that west-northwest wind flow. A few breaks around Unalaska today, a few sun breaks. Generally cloudy for the Aleutians. Next system over the western Bering Sea, and the trough will be slowly moving eastward. And tonight should spread increasing rainfall chances to the Pribilof Islands. A couple of bands there, one from Nunivak Island extending down to just north of the Fox Islands, and then another area of light precipitation, fog, and drizzle with the main low center, St. Matthew Island, to north of the western Aleutians. That all slipping eastward slowly. Weak low in the Gulf of Alaska. Still a trough off the southeast coast there. It's going to keep it wet and showery through the night tonight, but diminishing showers over interior Alaska with some clearing. Nothing heavy in the way of any precipitation expected. Low clouds, fog, IFR conditions for sure over the North Slope are in the forecast for the North Slope and Arctic coast. Through the Bering Strait, all the Bering Sea and most of the Aleutians, look for IFR flying conditions there, but VFR, Kodiak Island, and the Alaska Peninsula. And then for tomorrow, stronger low center moves northeastward 991 millibar south of Kodiak Island, but that will increase the rain chances on the southeast side of the island tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, that trough really slow moving through the panhandle, continues southwest flow, keeps shower chances, mostly cloudy skies in there through tomorrow, with light rain, fog, drizzle on the north coast, showers for the North Gulf Coast, scattered late morning in through the afternoon, thunderstorms developing again along the central eastern Brooks Range and scattered down to the central Alaska Range there, with showers back over the northwest interior. Look for partly sunny skies over the lower Yukon River Valley areas into possibly Bethel, but chance of precipitation of that weak trough over the Yukon Delta. And it looks wet and a little breezy for the Pribilof Islands tomorrow with low IFR flying conditions. Cloudy across the Aleutians, westerly winds there maybe 10 to 20 miles an hour. And low clouds and fog with light winds for the Arctic coast, and improving, maybe some sunshine in areas of the North Slope in the afternoon. And for Sunday, that storm moves northeastward and deepens, and pretty good gradient. Look for gale force winds eastern North Gulf Coast and at least the north coast of the Panhandle, with gusts of 50 miles an hour, less wind and less rain down toward Dixon Entrance, but still a wet day coming up for even those areas, Klawock, Craig, Annette, Metlakatla, but the heaviest wind and rain will definitely be over the northern Panhandle back westward to about Cordova, with chance of rain into south central Alaska, even isolated thunderstorms possible there over the Susitna Valley, and eastern interior areas, Nabesna, maybe Eagle, in those areas, eastern Brooks Range. But again, no widespread thunderstorm activity expected. Northwest winds, mostly sunny afternoon or day for Kodiak Island there, and showers over the southwest interior, with the next front pushing small craft advisory level winds into the western Aleutians with rain, possibly making it as far east as Adak by late in the afternoon. And for lows tonight, upper 40s, lower 50s for the southeast coast, mid to upper 40s for the Copper River Basin, 50, or upper 40s, lower 50s, south central Alaska, mostly in the lower to mid 40s over the southwest interior, lower 50s over the interior, upper 30s on the Arctic coast. Highs for tomorrow, lower 50s for the western and central Aleutians, mid 50s on Alaska to upper 50s Alaska Peninsula, near 50 St. Lawrence Island, lower 70s in the upper Yukon Valley, southward to the Brooks Range, or to the Alaska Range, mid to upper 60s, Susitna Valley, 50s to lower 60s in the Panhandle. Lows won't be much lower than that, lower to mid 50s for the southeast coast. Otherwise, mostly in the 40s over the interior. A few areas holding in the lower 50s, but upper 30s for the Arctic coast. That'll be followed by highs Sunday afternoon, 65 to 72 from the central interior up over the upper Yukon Valley. Chalkyitsik probably will see 72. And mid to upper 60s, maybe a 70 for the Susitna Valley in south central Alaska.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Moving on to flying weather, the first graphic for Saturday morning, IFR North Slope Arctic coast, southward across the northwest, Seward Peninsula into the Yukon Delta and lower Yukon Valley area, but VFR for the Kuskokwim Delta. Solid IFR from the St. Lawrence Island area right on down to the central western Aleutians. Eastern Aleutians a little more marginal, especially on Alaska Island. IFR Alaska Peninsula. Marginal VFR Bristol Bay. VFR Kodiak Island. IFR across southern Cook Inlet to the western Alaska Range. And eastward across Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast to near Elfin Cove and the southeast coast, marginal VFR. And areas of marginal VFR and VFR, Copper River Basin and the eastern interior. For the afternoon, more in the way of VFR for the eastern half of the state, but IFR lingers along the Arctic coast, and solid IFR, Seward Peninsula, Chukchi Sea, St. Lawrence Island, all of the Bering Sea, and all the Aleutians west of Nikolsky, Fox Islands, marginal VFR, as well as the Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay, and the southwest coast. A pretty widespread area of marginal VFR over the western interior areas with some lingering IFR there for western Cook Inlet, more so from Fognak Island up across Port Muller and Resurrection Bay into Prince William Sound to about Cape Yakataga. East of there, Yakutat on it down to Dixon Entrance, marginal VFR. Marginal VFR Sunday morning for the Panhandle with IFR right off the coast, right off the North Gulf Coast to Montague Island, the southern part of Montague Island. Otherwise, Prince William Sound, marginal VFR. Same thing for the Kenai Peninsula, southeastern Copper River Basin. IFR, Western Alaska Range, maybe the eastern Kuskokwim Valley. Marginal VFR along the Yukon River, southwest of the flats. And upper Tanana Valley, 40-mile country, and northward to Eagle, and actually on up toward the eastern Brooks Range, VFR. And then for the afternoon, VFR right along the Yukon River from, Eagle is in the marginal VFR zone, but the remainder of the Yukon River all the way out to the Delta, the southwest coast VFR, and marginal for the southwest interior, southwest mountains, Bristol Bay. IFR in toward Kuskokwim Bay, but more solid there for St. Matthew Island and Pribilofs, and from all of the Aleutians, southern Bering Sea. IFR, Bering Strait, IFR, Arctic coast, and a zone of IFR there for the eastern North Gulf coast, particularly around Yakutat, possibly into the Wrangell Mountains, otherwise continued marginal for the Panhandle. Anaktuvik passes Anaktuvik, IFR becoming marginal tomorrow afternoon, and for Adigan, IFR becomes marginal, same pattern, and Lake Clark and Merrill, IFR at times, probably throughout the entire day, pessimistically, rainy, marginal VFR, mostly for the day, and windy, VFR. Isabel, VFR. Mentesta also looking good, VFR flying there, as Tanita, VFR. Portage, though, IFR, especially on the eastern entrance, and for Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR. Freezing levels, cold pool, cool pool there along the southwest coast, 4,000 feet. Otherwise, 6,000 feet over the southern half of Alaska, and then up to the north, the Yukon River on out to the central eastern Arctic coast, about 8,000 feet there, and then sloping up to 10,000 feet for the western Aleutians. Excuse me. As far as icing goes, look for areas of mixed icing, rather widespread of the isolated, moderate, very isolated, moderate icing, mixed icing, southern Alaska there, maybe into the central interior, central Tanana Valley, on down across the Panhandle. Bulk of the icing just grazing the east side of Kodiak Island there, at the heaviest stuff staying to the south and shifting off to the east, and some mixed icing for the eastern Bering Sea. Taking a look at the jet stream, 33,000 foot wind flow chart showing upper lows there, one over just south of St. Matthew Island, another one near or just southwest of Falls Pass. So we've got southerly flow turns southwest and then westerly, pretty brisk there, 100 knots over the Barren Islands, and then up to 125 knots across the central Panhandle, northwesterly 70 to 95 knots heading down toward the central Aleutians, 35 knots southern Bering Sea at 9,000 feet. Otherwise, not bad, pretty light. The stronger winds with that low well south of Kodiak Island, not affecting the area yet. Same thing at 3,000 feet. And turbulence-wise, look for some light to isolated moderate chop below 4,000 feet, Lynn Canal, and for the central Aleutian areas. Otherwise, pretty smooth throughout the remainder of the state. After the break, I'll be back with a marine forecast.
Ahoy, Cadets, and welcome to the Okeanos Explorer. I'm Debbie, and I'm an ocean explorer. I work for NOAA, which stands for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Together with many other people, I work on this ship, and we explore the deep sea. How do we do that? Let's go find out.
Octonauts, let's do this. Yow!
The pressure in the ocean is so great humans can't go there, so we send a special robot. Octocadets, meet Deep Discoverer, our special robot for ocean exploration. And this is Chris. He works with Deep Discoverer. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Debbie.
Can you tell us about what Deep Discoverer does?
Sure. So this is Deep Discoverer, and today we're going to take Deep Discoverer up to 4 miles down to the ocean floor so you can see what Deep Discoverer sees.
Now, how do we do that?
We do that by using these powerful cameras and powerful lights.
That's neat. And what is that?
And this is our manipulator arm, and we use this arm to take biological and geological samples that we store up front in these boxes, and so that we can bring them to the surface so scientists can analyze them.
Wow, isn't that cool, Octocadets? Wow! Now that we know more about the special robot that explores the seafloor, let's find out more about the ship. Octocadets, let's do this. Now let's find out what we do with D2's video. Come along. This is the control room. A lot of things about D2 happen in here. Behind me you see the pilots. They steer D2 on the seafloor. And over here we have scientists. Hi Steve and Stacy.
Hi, this is Steve and I am Stacy and we are marine biologists.
Can you tell us about the work you do here?
We actually look at the videos collected by the robots and we try to identify organisms along with other scientists on the shore.
What are you looking at right now?
We're actually looking at a sea star.
That's so awesome, thank you. Now let's look at how we make maps of the seafloor.
Excellent, Quasi. A good map helps you to get to places you've never been.
We also have a scientist on board who makes maps of the seafloor. Hi Derek.
Hi Debbie.
Can you tell us about your work?
Sure. My job on the ship is to make maps of the ocean floor. We do this by sending sound from the bottom of the ship. It echoes off the seafloor and comes back to the ship. And then from that, we can make maps like this. So this is what it would look like if you were able to drain the water out of the ocean and actually see what the landscape looked like down there. We use these maps to give the vehicles a place to dive, and they explore further, just like octonauts do.
Status report, Dashi.
We're right on course, Captain.
So earlier we learned that D2 picks things up from the seafloor with his manipulator arm. Let's find out what we do with those samples. This is the wet lab, and Megan spends a lot of time here. Megan, can you tell us about your work?
I am the sample data manager, so when the ROV comes up, we go out and we collect the samples from the ROV and we bring them in here. And we try to record as much information about them as possible, everything from the details about what they look like to the environment conditions where they were found. How cold was it, for example? Then we come in and we take imagery using this microscope, and we take pictures using this camera as well. And then after we get all the pictures taken and we're ready, we prepare them for shipping to other scientists and museums so more science can be done, such as the squat lobster, this cup coral as well.
And what is that?
This is a piece of coral, or several pieces of coral, that we think might actually be a new species. So we are going to send it out for a comparison to existing species to see if we discovered something new.
Wow, you have a really cool job.
Thank you.
Fascinating. I've read about this, but I've never actually seen it.
An important part of how we explore the ocean is keeping in touch with scientists and Octocadets on shore. Let's go see how we do that. Rosemary, could you tell the Octocadets a little about what that dish does?
Sure. My name is Lieutenant Rosemary Abbott. I'm the operations officer aboard the Okeanos Explorer, and that is our VSAT. It stands for Very Small Aperture Terminal, and inside that satellite dome is a very powerful dish antenna that allows us to communicate with shore and share video in real time. The technology is called telepresence.
Wow, that is so interesting. Thank you, Rosemary. Now I'm getting really hungry. Let's go to the kitchen and talk about food. This is the ship's kitchen, also known as the galley. And this is Michael. Hi, Michael.
Hi Debbie.
Michael is the chief steward on this ship, and he keeps 49 people fed for 3 weeks at a time. Michael, how do you do that?
With a lot of care and with the help of 3 crew members. I have myself, the chief steward, a chief cook, and a second cook. And we just do it with a lot of love and care and make sure that everybody's happy and well fed. We use up to 150 dozen eggs per trip, up to 100 gallons of milk, a lot of veggies and fruits, a lot of snacks. Everybody's very pleased with what we usually put out. We also make sure that we do it in a loving way, in a sanitary way, in a safe way that keeps everybody from getting any tummy aches.
about to enter the ship's bridge. It's like the Octopod's headquarters.
Octonauts to the HQ.
Ahoy, Captain.
Ahoy, Debbie.
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Octocadets, meet Eric Johnson, the commander of the ship. Eric, can you tell us about what you do up here?
Absolutely. Hello, Octa Cadets. My name's Eric Johnson. I'm an Corps officer, and I'm the captain of the Okeanos Explorer. Welcome to my office. This is where we drive the ship. This is where we control the operations. We run the propellers that are underneath us in the back to the wheel up here at the front, which is where we steer. It's a pretty cool job. It's very exciting, and it's pretty beautiful around here as well.
So, Octocadets, now you know a little bit about the ship and how we explore the deep sea. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I'll see you next time.
Debbie, safety first.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis showing just about sea ice free waters now all along the Arctic coast there, all the way over to the Mackenzie Bay area. A little bit there just north of the east central Arctic coast, but nothing significant. And no big changes expected over the next 5 or 6 days. With continued very slow melting, diminishing ice there on the southern edge. So moving on to the coastal water forecast there. Southwest winds 20 knots with 11-foot seas for the outer coastline. Extreme north coast a little lighter, more southerly at 15 knots. Small craft advisories for Lynn Canal with southerly winds sustained 25 knots tomorrow, seas 5 feet. South 20 with gusts of 35 for Stevens Passage, and south 15 for Clarence Strait, seas 3 feet. Outlook for Sunday, small craft advisories for much of the coastline with west-southwest winds in the forecast for the north coast and seas near 20 feet with that storm system rolling in. West 20 there for the central coast with 15-foot seas and small craft advisories there along the coast of Prince of Wales Island. West winds 25 knots, seas 13 feet. Southeast 25 for Clarence Strait, south 20 for Stevens Passage, Lynn Canal and Glacier Bays. For Cook Inlet, light south winds tomorrow, 10 knots, seas at 2 feet, east 15 for Prince William Sound, as well as the western North Gulf Coast. Eastern North Gulf Coast, call it southeast at 20 knots with 7-foot seas, southeast 10 knots for the Barren Islands, and Kamishak Bay west winds at 15. And for Sunday, a little breezier, especially southern Cook Inlet and Kamishak Bay, where 30-knot winds out of the west are in the forecast. Southern Cook Inlet west 20, northern Cook Inlet west 15. But 40-knot gale force winds for the Barren Islands out of the northwest and the western North Gulf Coast. So full gales there. Seas 13 to 16 feet, and north 45 knots for the eastern North Gulf Coast with seas near 20 feet. Prince William Sound, northwest winds 30 knots. And for Kodiak Island, west winds 15 knots tomorrow, and northwest 20 knots at Ganacta Castle Cape, west at 20 on the Bering Sea side of the peninsula, west 15 for Bristol Bay. And for the Alaska Peninsula on Sunday, small craft advisories, west winds 25 knots, all the way up to Sitkinak and Chillicothe Strait, west at 25. Otherwise, gale warnings for the east side of Kodiak Island there with west winds sustained 35 knots, seas 13 feet, 15 knots for Bristol Bay. Fox Islands tomorrow, west-southwest 15 to 25 knots with 4 to 6-foot seas, 20 to 25 knots southwest winds, for the central Aleutians with seas up to 7 feet, west 20 for Amchitka Island, westward to Shimian at 2. And then they'll swing around to the southeast for that next storm pushing into the western Aleutians on Sunday. Southeast winds 30 knots there for Adak and Atka, south 20. On Alaska Island, west winds 25 knots, seas 8 feet, Unmak Island, southwest 20, 7 to 8 foot seas. For the southwest coast, south of Nunivak Island, southwest breeze at 15, Yukon Delta coast, southeast at 20, south 20 for St. Matthew Island. The Pribilof Island, small craft advisory, southwest winds 25 knots, seas 7 feet. St. Lawrence Island, look for southerly winds, pretty light, only 10 knots with 3 foot seas. That continues into Sunday with southwest breeze at 10 knots, St. Lawrence Island and the Yukon Delta coast, southwest 15 for the Kuskokwim Delta coastline. And for the Pribilofs, west winds 15 knots, seas 5 feet. Up along the Beaufort Sea coast, central and part of the east side there, easterly wind, the direction out of the east 10 to 15 knots, northeast 10 over toward Demarcation Point, western North Gulf coast, western Arctic coast, north at 10. And from Cape Beaufort to Cape Thompson, northeast winds 15 knots, northwest 15 knots, Cape Thompson to Wales. And for Sunday, southwest 15 for the Chukchi Sea, south 15 for the western coast, light winds for the central coast, and west-northwest at 10 for the east side. For tonight, diminishing showers over the interior. Stays wet over the panhandle, the trough that a couple of them still to swing in with low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska. Next system pulling northward south of Kodiak Island tomorrow. Spreads those gale force and small craft advisory level winds and a good shot of precipitation to the North Gulf Coast and northern panhandle Sunday afternoon. Otherwise, the next system pushing into the western Aleutians, not quite making it to ADAC.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.